Hello, hello, hello. I'm Devin Mullen here with Music is Art for our Eighth Note sessions, and today I have a very special guest, Bill Krauss, a local luthier and master craftsman of all your favorite acoustic guitars. How you doing today, Bill?
Doing fine, thanks.
So overall, how's business? How you doing?
Good, good. It's always a tough sell, but I got a few guitars to make for people, and it's going it's going pretty well.
Now, to reiterate, Bill is a luthier, which means he is a woodworker, mechanical engineer, geometrical wizard, and master tool maker.
Yeah.
He is essential in providing you the guitar to play on. Now, how long you been at this?
I went to the Roberto Venn School of Luthery in 2003, and I got out and started up in 2004, making a lot of the tools and the jigs and forms, stuff like that, and I've been at it ever since.
Now, you're very meticulous with your work. How many guitars would you say you put out a year?
My best year so far has been 4 guitars,
Isn't that wild?
and it's fairly recently. It's been sporadic. I've generally worked and done repairs
So
and built
make
guitars.
so making that small batch, I assume that there's a lot of love and attention to detail put in these instruments. What would you say the big difference between this and something that's more mass produced, like Martin or Taylor is?
Yeah, well, it's definitely the sound. A lot of people think of Martin or Taylor as the benchmark of a great instrument. And, I think in many cases, most people haven't been exposed to a handmade, high quality guitar. Uh, and it's the sound. The playability, you take a factory guitar and with some work, you can get the playability there. But the sound is the difference. And I think that's the main thing.
Now, in terms of like materials and anything, do you do anything special that you won't see in like a stock guitar? Like any sort of special wood or configuration, anything like that?
Uh, yes, I try and tend to always use offbeat, uncommon woods. Like I'm building a guitar now out of granadillo, which is a very rosewood-like
Hmm,
guitar.
I like that name.
Uh, and I do a lot of wood bindings, uh, stuff like that. The necks are hand carved. The bridges are hand carved. It's a lot of hand work, which you don't generally get with a factory guitar.
Now, what do you think for your tastes? And this will be a question for any guitarist friends who maybe is on the market. Uh, what's your favorite fretboard?
I'm an ebony guy.
An ebony.
Yeah,
Ebony's
yeah,
heavy, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. One of the heaviest woods out there. It's a great wood for fingerboards. It's a little more dense than rosewood. So down the road, a rosewood guitar, if you're a heavy player, you'll get the divots in the fingerboard, where the ebony guitar generally holds up a little bit better, holds the frets very well. So yeah, I'm an ebony guy. A lot of the fingerboards, people like the jet black. I like it to see a little color in there, a little bit of grain, which generally a lot of the guitars you see with the jet black fingerboard, it's dyed, because ebony is
Interesting.
somewhat uncommon to be jet black.
Do you,
So I like to get the fingerboards with a little bit of a color to them.
that doesn't surprise me. I once remember I read a story once that they dye salmon. They dye it pink, so it sells better.
It's more appetizing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. All right, so we were talking a little bit earlier. You said really got your start in music in what, the late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, late 70s. Took my first guitar lesson in January of 1979.
And mostly you said bluegrass, roots music.
Yeah, blues, bluegrass. And I listen to like the Allman Brothers and stuff like
Of
that, as well
course.
as, Mississippi John Hurt and some of the blues artists too, acoustic blues guys too.
Is that sort of because I mean those are very guitar. I mean Dwayne Allman, he's one of my favorite guitarists.
Yeah.
Is that really sort of you looked at these folks, these sort of heroes of rock and roll or blues or whatever, and was like, I wanna be involved with that.
Yeah.
Hungry to be part of the process.
Sure. I was never a talkative person. I was never real out there. So, me and a bud would play and sit in the house and get a couple of guitars and play. But I was never the kind of guy to go out and have a band, So that kind of pushed me towards the instrument side as opposed to being a player out. I can't picture myself getting up on stage, It's just too much for me.
You prefer to be one of the pillars that supports our egotism and our narcissism. I get it.
Yeah.
All right. So, last couple things. Now, I looked at your website where you sell your guitars, and they are gorgeous. I listened to some demos for them. They sound wonderful. I will also say, being a mostly broke, starving artist type myself, I'm still probably a couple years off from having that. In the meantime, what would recommendations be to any prospective buyer, just generally looking for guitars? What are some things to watch out for, some qualities to really look for in a good instrument?
As far as a guitar in a guitar store, for the most part, they've got the setups down pretty well now. The big companies, Gibson, Martin, Taylor, they're all putting out a real nice guitar. Again, if you wanted something that sounds a step above that, that's where you get into a guitar maker, like myself. Or there's other people out there that I do think it's a pretty good step up over a factory guitar, but it doesn't come cheap.
Well, I will say you are very diplomatic to the big competition.
Yeah,
more or less. They do a pretty good job. I don't got much bad to say about them. I love it.
Yeah, it was different years back. You go back a few years, and the quality wasn't quite where it is today. They've all stepped up their game.
That's gotta be tough. I mean, definitely makes me appreciate though the independent artisans, because that's for my taste playing guitar. I always look for things which are a little bit quirky, a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because even if everything's high quality, if it's basically the same offering for all things, you end up with kind of a similar sound.
Sure.
And that's not too fun.
Yeah, most factory guitars are all it's like a bell curve of quality where they're all fairly average sounding. When I make a guitar, everything's pretty much optimized. And just like the art world, one of my guitars is completely unique. Every guitar is different. It's not being made in a factory where they're putting out hundreds of guitars a day. It's one at a time, completely unique, built to your specs, neck shape, the kind of tone that you want. Yeah, it's all kind of more dialed in than what you'll get out of a factory for sure.
Sounds like a dream come true. And honestly, like, you can order guitars like on Amazon and stuff. Yeah. I would not recommend that. I think you gotta play the instrument before you buy it, for sure. All right, so I'm gonna give you the last couple words here, Bill. Any words of wisdom for people trying to make it in the arts in this time of plague and pandemic?
Yeah, it's my business is just very similar to being a musician. I think it's nonstop. It's a constant struggle. You're constantly working. There's no shortcuts. It's always going to be a lot of work.
So in short, hang in there. We're in it together.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks, Bill. Well, I'm Devin Mullen, and this has been our 8th Note session for Thursday. See you later.